I used to think the worst thing that could ever happen to me was a house fire, until the HOA president dragged me into court for living outside her HOA. She waved a 30-year-old map like it was a royal decree, and 3 minutes later that same map destroyed her entire empire. Let me take you back to where it all started. The first time I saw Karen Goodson, she was marching up my driveway like she was invading a foreign country. My wife Amy and I had just finished installing the last board on our porch railing. We were sitting in our old rocking chairs drinking coffee, watching the mist rise through the pines. This was supposed to be our dream, 5 acres of peace and quiet. No rules, no neighbors breathing down our necks. Then came Karen. Pastel pink pantsuit hair sprayed into a helmet that looked bulletproof, clutching a clipboard like it was a weapon. "Good morning," she said, though it sounded more like an accusation. "I'm Karen Goodson, president of the High Pines Homeowners Association." She said president the way a dictator says supreme leader. I took a sip of my coffee. "That's nice. This is my property. What can I do for you?" "Well, that's just it," she said, smiling tight. "It's your property, but it's also within the High Pines Community Charter, which means it's subject to our covenants and bylaws. I've already noted 2 violations." "Violations?" I almost laughed. "We've only been here 3 weeks. She ignored me. "First, your fire pit. It's unapproved. All outdoor fire features must be gas-powered and enclosed in a decorative housing. Second, this. Overgrowth." She waved at the trees surrounding our cabin. "The rules require a park-like appearance. You'll need to remove at least 40% of your trees." I stared at her, certain she had to be joking. "You want me to cut down the forest?" She blinked unbothered. "Proper sight lines are part of community standards." Amy tried to diffuse it calm as ever. "Ma'am, there must be some mistake. When we bought this land, there were no HOA ties. The title search was clear." Karen smiled that awful smile people wear when they think they're smarter than you. "Mistakes happen. Ignorance of the law is no excuse." Then she handed me a pink slip, a formal notice of violation, and walked off like she'd just conquered a small country. That night, Amy and I burned her pink paper in the same unapproved fire pit. It felt like a victory until dawn when a sheriff's deputy delivered a thick envelope stamped with a law firm's crest. Inside, a formal complaint. The HOA was suing us. I remember sitting at the table holding that envelope like it was a live grenade. Amy's face went pale. "They're claiming our property was annexed in 1996, she said after reading it. "They're billing us for 5 years of unpaid dues and violations, $9,000. $9,000 for trees and a fire pit." I felt rage bubbling up. "She's trying to steal our land," I said. "I'll drive down there and—" "No," Amy cut in. "That's what she wants. She wants you angry, reckless. We fight smart." So the next morning, she headed to the county records office. I spent the day wiring trail cameras around the property, motion sensors, night vision, the works. If a leaf moved wrong, I'd know about it. A few days later, a high-pitched buzzing broke the quiet. A drone. It hovered just above the treetops, pointing its camera at our porch. I smiled, waved, and called the sheriff. He said, "As long as it's in public airspace, nothing I can do." That night, the drone came lower. I aimed the garden hose and blasted it clean out of the sky. Small win. The next morning, our water pump was dead. I opened the housing, sand poured out. Someone had sabotaged it. That's when I realized this wasn't about HOA rules anymore. This was war. Amy called the insurance company and a property rights lawyer. The lawyer said, "Document everything." So we did. Every knock, every letter, every noise in the woods. A week later, my cameras caught 2 men creeping up to our house at 2 a.m. They carried paint rollers and buckets. They started slapping beige paint all over our cedar siding, the HOA-approved color. I hit the floodlights. The men froze, eyes wide, then bolted into the woods. The sheriff came again, looked at the footage, and sighed. "It's a civil matter." Civil matter. My house was vandalized, and it was a civil matter. Amy's voice trembled with fury. "They're getting away with everything." That's when she found the thread that unraveled it all. She was digging through county files when she noticed something off about that 1996 map Karen kept mentioning. It was sloppily filed. And when Amy started cross-checking real estate sales, something clicked. "Look at this," she said one night, pulling up a digital map. Blue outlines for the HOA's boundaries, red dots for all the properties Karen's agency Goodson Realty had bought recently. 14 dots all outside the HOA. She's been buying up cheap land. Amy said, then using the HOA to expand the boundary line so she can flip them for massive profit. It hit me like a punch. This wasn't about power, it was about money. She was using HOA authority as a weapon to inflate her own portfolio. I stared at the evidence. We could win with this. Take it to court, end this. Amy hesitated. And let her keep doing it to everyone else. What about Derek and the others she's bullied? She was right. Walking away would make us safe, but it wouldn't make it right. That night we made a pact. Our lawyer would build the legal defense quietly. Meanwhile, we'd start a campaign of truth. Amy designed a one-page flyer. No opinions, just facts. Fact. HOA. President Karen Goodson's company has purchased 14 distressed properties outside High Pines. Fact. Her proposed boundary expansion includes all 14. Fact. Estimated value increase over $2 million. We left our names off. Derek, our eccentric neighbor, agreed to distribute them in every mailbox after midnight. 2 days later, the neighborhood exploded. People were standing in driveways waving the flyers. The online message board was chaos. Karen kept deleting posts, but new ones popped up faster than she could erase them. That's when she panicked, and when things got dangerous. A black pickup roared up our driveway one afternoon. 2 men jumped out, one of them the same guy who'd painted my wall. "We're here for an HOA inspection," he said with a smirk. The other guy, built like a refrigerator, crossed his arms. "Security," he grunted. I was holding my splitting axe. Didn't raise it, just kept it in my hands. "This is private property," I said evenly. "Turn around and leave." Amy was on the porch filming with her phone. The big one stepped closer, trying to intimidate me. "We're not leaving." I didn't move. "One more step," I told him, "and I will defend my home." He hesitated. He was used to fear, not resolve. His buddy panicked, grabbed for one of my cameras, and ripped it off the tree. "No more spying," he shouted. Then he shoved me. Bad move. Amy's camera caught everything. The shove, the threats, my restraint. And then, like some cosmic joke, a sheriff's siren wailed down the road. The same deputy stepped out, saw the scene, and arrested both men on the spot. Karen had finally overplayed her hand. The arrest sent shockwaves through High Pines. The same residents who'd whispered in fear now started talking loudly in public. The tide was turning. But Amy and I knew we still needed a silver bullet, something undeniable. That's when Amy said, "What about Mr. Abernathy, the old farmer who sold us the land? We found him in a nursing home, sharp as ever." When we told him the whole story, he frowned. "Son," he said, "when I told you that land would never be part of the HOA, that wasn't a promise, it was law." In 1994, the board voted to permanently exempt my parcel. It's in the meeting minutes. And there's a notarized map to prove it. My heart pounded. Karen's been using a 1996 map. He leaned forward, eyes fierce. Then she forged it. There was never a 1996 expansion. Not a legal one. He handed us a key. "Under my bed there's a footlocker. The originals are in there. Keep them safe." We opened that old metal box like it was treasure. Inside was a pristine hand-drawn map dated 1994, signed by every original board member, sealed and notarized. Beneath it, the meeting minutes confirming the exemption. It was proof irrefutable and lethal. When we walked out, the sun was setting, and for the first time in months I felt peace. We were no longer on defense. We were carrying the bomb that would blow her entire scam apart. The trial came a week later. Karen strutted into the courtroom in her pink blazer, flanked by her lawyer and 2 rolling suitcases of binders. She looked like she owned the place. I walked in with one slim leather folder. She smirked. Her lawyer gave a grand speech about community values and maintaining harmony. Then Karen took the stand. She cried about how we'd terrorized her, how she'd only wanted to preserve beauty. When she unrolled the 1996 map, her lawyer asked, "This is the official county record, correct?" She sniffled. "Yes, I just want them to be good neighbors." I gripped the folder so tight my knuckles ached. Amy whispered, "Let her build the pedestal higher." When it was finally our turn, our lawyer called me up. I told the story, the fire pit, the drone, the paint, the harassment, The threats. Karen's lawyer kept objecting, but the judge waved him off. Then our lawyer opened the folder. "Your Honor," he said, "the plaintiff's case rests on one document, their 1996 map. We have a different one." He unrolled the 1994 map beside it. The difference was shocking. Ours showed our parcel clearly exempt, signed by the original board, notarized. Karen's showed the opposite, signed only by her. Her lawyer went white. Objection. "Where did this come from?" "From the man who founded High Pines," our lawyer said calmly, "along with the original meeting minutes." He handed them to the judge. Karen's face drained of color. She stammered, That's fake lies." But we weren't done. Our lawyer presented the real estate records Amy had uncovered, proof of Karen's scheme, her agency buying and flipping the annexed properties. Then he played the footage of her hired men attacking me on my property. Silence. The entire courtroom could feel her empire collapsing. Judge Stone studied the evidence, her expression turning to ice. Then she raised her gavel. "Case dismissed with prejudice." Karen's jaw dropped. The judge wasn't finished. "In 20 years on this bench," she said, voice cutting through the air, "I have rarely seen such malicious abuse of the law. Mrs. Goodson, you falsified official documents, committed perjury, and terrorized these people for personal gain. You will personally pay all legal and property damages, and this matter will be referred to the district attorney for criminal investigation." The sound of the gavel echoed like a gunshot. Karen flinched. By that afternoon, word had spread. High Pines held an emergency meeting that night. Karen was voted out, her real estate license revoked. The same neighbors she'd ruled through fear now turned their backs on her. And me, I didn't celebrate. There was no cheering, no champagne. Just silence. A few weeks later, I was back on my porch, sitting beside Amy. The beige stain on our wall was gone, replaced with fresh cedar. The fire pit glowed softly, sending sparks into the night. For the first time in months, the air was still. I thought about everything, how close I came to giving up, how this quiet life almost got stolen by someone who thought rules made her untouchable. Turns out the only thing she couldn't control was someone too stubborn to bow. Some fences don't just stand their ground, some of them bite back.